Halloween is nearly here, and I thought the perfect way to celebrate would be by talking about some of the most beloved evil characters of all time, the Disney villains. Today we're going to be ranking the iconic villains from Disney movies. I'd say I'm a pretty big fan of the villains. I mean, obviously. When I was a kid, I was all about the princesses and the good guys, but nowadays I think that the most entertaining parts of these movies are usually the villains. And did I maybe start to appreciate them more once I became a Twisted Wonderland fan? Yeah, I'll admit it. Anyway, this video is going to be a little different than my other ranking videos because in addition to putting them on a tier list, I'm also going to be giving them a score. Each villain will be judged on two categories, intimidation and entertainment. They can earn a score out of 5 in each category to give them a total score of 10. However, I will also be giving out bonus points for things that I don't think fit into these categories, so it will be possible to receive a score higher than 10. After they receive their arbitrary score, they will then be placed on the tier list and give it the rank that I think suits them best. Now, obviously, I cannot rank every single villain in the Disney universe, or else we would be here forever. So we're not doing Pixar villains, villains from TV shows, or villains from sequel movies. We're also not doing twist villains like Hans from Frozen. So I picked the ones that Disney themselves seems to most often promote as their villains. To me, these are the most important, most well-known, most iconic ones. And even then, I'm probably still going to miss someone that you think should be on this list, so I apologize in advance for whoever I don't have on this list. This is just the list of ones that, for me personally, I see as the Disney villains. I'm also only going to be judging them off their original movie, so even though I think Lady Tremaine is quite iconic in Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time, I will only be judging her on the original Cinderella. Also, please know that I am a biased person. I will be favoring some villains over others for completely personal reasons. I will also be giving out points and assigning characters good or bad ranks for completely silly and stupid reasons, just because I think it's funny. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that our lists would probably be totally different, but that's okay. That is the fun in this. Okay, I think that covers every possible disclaimer I could give. I hope. So let's get on to the ranking, which, by the way, the villains are going to be in a completely random order. Okay, now let's get on to the ranking. We're starting off with one of the most iconic villains. You are always going to see Disney promoting her. But where will she fall in my list? Well, let's start off with her intimidation score. She is a queen, which gives her the power to have people do her bidding, like the huntsman, but she's also willing to get her hands dirty and do things herself. She can make potions, like the one that turns her into the old hag, and she can make poisons, like she gives Snow White. She has this evil dungeon lair in her castle, and you can see skeletons laying around. So you know she's probably killing people pretty often. Which then brings me to her motivation. She wants Snow White dead simply because she's prettier than her. If she's willing to kill her stepdaughter over something like that, I have to wonder what crimes all these poor skeletons in her dungeon committed. This is going to give her an intimidation score of 3, middle of the road. I don't find an old lady with an apple to be super intimidating, so most of her score is coming from what I think she's capable of based on the hints you see throughout the movie. I'm also going to give her an entertainment score of 3. When she's on screen, she steals the show and is very entertaining, but there just isn't enough of her. It's actually surprising how little she's on screen for how well known of a villain she is. Now I am going to give her 1 bonus point for being an iconic Disney villain though. This brings her final score to 7 out of 10. I'm placing her in the B tier. Chernabog gets placed in the villains lineup pretty often, despite only being in the last 5 minutes of Fantasia and having no speaking parts. I did some research, and apparently he's known as Walt Disney's most evil creation, so that's probably why. I also learned that he's half bat god, half minotaur. He's also gigantic and seems to be controlling all these other evil beings. That's gonna give him an intimidation score of 5. However, he gets an entertainment score of 1 because, like I said, he's only in the last 5 minutes of Fantasia and is just like, I'm evil and doing evil things and now I'm gone. I have no bonus points to give him, so he gets a final score of 6 out of 10 and will be placed in the D tier. I feel like there's gonna be like some diehard Fantasia fan out there that's gonna be so mad at me for that. I'm sorry. So I do not really find the Queen of Hearts herself to be intimidating at all. She just yells and cheats at croquet. And I guess she chases Alice at the end of the movie, which is a little scary. But really the most intimidating thing about her is that she can order her card soldiers to chop your head off. So the intimidation score is a 2. Now as for entertainment, I'm not really an Alice in Wonderland fan, so I do find her to be the most entertaining part of the movie, but the bar is pretty low for me. I'd say she annoys me more than anything. She also doesn't show up until the very end, so she's barely in it. Her entertainment score is also a 2, giving her a grand total of 4 points and landing her in the D tier. I feel like people are going to be mad about that one too. Was this video a mistake? Yeah, people aren't going to be happy about this one either. This video was a mistake. Captain Hook gets an intimidation score of 1. He does brutally kill a man at the start of the movie, but aside from that, he's just so pathetic. He spends so much time failing to catch Peter Pan and being terrified of a crocodile. How am I supposed to be afraid of you when you keep crying over this goofy-looking crocodile? His pathetic and silly nature is going to give him an entertainment score of 3. He's funny, yes, but I personally don't find him to be super entertaining. But I'm also just not a big Peter Pan fan to begin with, so that's probably why. However, he is going to get a bonus point for being another iconic villain, so his 5 points will put him in the C tier. I feel really guilty about this one, like I'm supposed to like him more than I do. Disney loves Maleficent. They always like to show her off like she's the queen of all the villains and she's the best one and more powerful than all of them. I don't necessarily agree with that, so when I rewatched Sleeping Beauty for this video, I was fully prepared to be unimpressed and think that she's overrated. I was very wrong. She's got magic. She can curse people. She can summon lightning. She can turn into a dragon. She can teleport. She lives in this scary castle and has a bunch of minions dedicated to her. Her design and aura is menacing. She will curse you for something as simple as not inviting her to a party. She is downright evil. Her intimidation score is a 5. And for all of those reasons that I just listed, she's also the most entertaining part of the movie. That's another 5. I'm also giving her bonus points for her design, her iconic status, and being petty enough to curse a baby. I think the only thing that would make her better is if she had a villain song. Maleficent's final score is 13, and she's obviously going in the S tier. I feel like she is the reason that stepmothers get such a bad reputation. Cinderella is kind of stuck because at her age she can't deny Lady Tremaine since she is her parent. Her intimidation score is going to be a 2 though, because yes, while it would be horrifying to have a mom like this, I would rather have her force me to do chores than have to fight Maleficent who can turn into a dragon. Her entertainment score is a 3 because it's fun to see just how awful she's determined to be to this poor girl who did literally nothing wrong. And I'm also going to give her a bonus point for how spooky she looks in the dark with her eyes glowing. See, I told you there'd be some stupid reasons for points in here. She's also going to get another point for making everyone think that stepmothers are bad. Her final score is 7 out of 10 and she's in the B tier. Any of us can deny the fact that turning puppies into fur coats is pretty darn intimidating. However, I don't think she's the one doing the skinning herself. So I'd say the most intimidating thing about Cruella De Vil is her driving. She is so reckless, she's gonna get someone killed. That's a 3. She's also going to get a 3 on the entertainment scale. Just the way she moves around the environment she's in and talks. She's fun to watch. She's also just a horrible, mean person. And hey, that's what we like in villains. She gets 1 bonus point for the song that Roger writes about her, and another bonus point for the pop version of this song that Selena Gomez sang back in the day and was all over Disney Channel. I never watched 101 Dalmatians as a kid, so for the longest time, I didn't realize this was a cover. I just thought Selena Gomez decided to write a song about Cruella De Vil for some reason. Anyway, her score is an 8, and her rank is B. There's a reason Ursula is one of the most popular villains. I mean, first of all, look what she turns everyone into. That's scary. Much like Maleficent, she has magic, she has 2 intimidating minions, aka the eels, and she has a transformation. She gets really, really big and just starts destroying everything and controlling the ocean. And the fact that she can just take Ariel's voice, use it to turn into a human, and brainwash Eric into loving her? Intimidation score is a 5. Entertainment is also a 5. I mean, do I even need to explain? Just look at her. She's so fun to watch. And we finally got a villain song with Poor Unfortunate Souls, and it goes so hard. She's getting 2 bonus points for the song and 1 for the iconic status. 13 out of 10, S tier. Gaston is getting a 3 on the intimidation scale, mostly for being the exact type of man that women fear. He won't leave Belle alone, he wants her to just be a wife that doesn't think. And then you add on the fact that he planned to have her dad thrown in an asylum just so he could be with her. I'm not really sure why the people of this town love him so much. Speaking of which, he was able to rally the people of the town to go after the beast so easily. Like, they just immediately followed him. What else could he get them to do? Probably anything. His fight with the beast went pretty well too, and he does technically kill him in the end. Now, as for entertainment, it's a 4. He's both funny and a jerk, and that makes for an entertaining character. He also has a villain song, which he will be getting a bonus point for. 8 out of 10, A tier. I will be perfectly honest with you, Aladdin is my favorite Disney movie, and Jafar is my favorite villain. So obviously, he's getting a 5 on both of the scales. And I am justified in it, okay? He's a sorcerer who is constantly brainwashing the Sultan into doing whatever he wants. He's the royal advisor, so he has the power to do things like kidnap Aladdin or have people killed. He's also willing to get his hands dirty and kill people himself. And once he has the lamp and gains a bunch of power, Well, then he's using magic to do literally whatever he wants and turns into a giant snake. And he also makes for a pretty scary genie. He's also just hilarious, okay? He has the most blunt, funny responses to things. And he's just comically evil. Like in the beginning of the movie, the Sultan is like, "Ah, Jafar, my most trusted advisor." And then it pans to the most evil looking man you have ever seen. And then the fact that when he makes himself Sultan, he picks up the palace and moves it on top of a mountain for no reason at all. Why did he do that? He's so dramatic. Now for the bonus points. He gets 1 for his song. It's not his own song, but it is a reprise of Prince Ali, where he just exposes Aladdin, which is kind of iconic. He gets another point for his hilarious dynamic with Iago. Speaking of which, I'm giving him another point for taking a family picture with Iago, because why did he do that? Finally, he gets a point for literally being the older version of Jamil Viper from Twisted Wonderland. 14 out of 10, S tier. I am very biased. Scar is the best part of The Lion King for me. That's the case with most of these villains, but in The Lion King especially, anytime he's not on screen, I'm like, bring him back. I want more. It should be obvious that his entertainment score is going to be a 5. He has such an evil sounding voice, and he's got one of the best villain songs. Like, Be Prepared is so good. Now, as for intimidation, I'm giving him a 4.5. He's a lion. That's scary. I know I could not take on a lion. However, he loses half a point because throughout the movie, they mention several times that he's not as strong as the other lions, and we see this at the end when Simba goes after him, he immediately starts to panic and run away. He does eventually fight back, but only after tricking Simba, and even then, it doesn't last very long. But I am giving him bonus points for his song and his cool voice. 11.5 out of 10, S tier. Is Frollo the most evil Disney villain? I mean, I guess that's up to personal opinion. It's kind of hard to say when you're comparing him to someone like Maleficent, who is, well, herself, or Chernabog, who literally feels like the devil. However, Frollo is the most grounded in reality villain. He's the most human, and that's why he feels so much more evil than the rest. He could be real. The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Frollo are dark. I mean, the movie opens with Frollo hunting a poor woman down, killing her, and then nearly dropping her baby in a well. Frollo is a judge who thinks he is holier than everyone else. He uses his religion to justify his actions and hate an entire group of people. He is the ultimate good and will punish anyone he believes to be a sinner. He locks poor Quasimodo in the bell tower for his whole life, manipulating him and acting like he cares about him, when in reality he sees him as a monster. Then in walks Esmeralda. Frollo is so down bad for her that this quote-unquote holy man is turned to sin. He burns down all of Paris to find her, and when he does, he gives her one last chance to be with him, and when she says no, he's like, alright, she's refused to repent. Time to die. Again, using religion to justify his actions. It could happen in real life. I mean, it does happen in real life. And then in the end, he uses some more direct methods of murder. Intimidation score is a 5. Entertainment is also a 5. Frollo is a horrible, terrible person, but he is such a fascinating character to both watch and analyze. I mean, his thought process behind his disgusting actions and how he uses religion to justify his actions is incredibly interesting. And then there's Hellfire. Many people consider this to not only be the best villain song, but one of the best Disney songs, period. I would happen to agree with this. I mean, it's just a good song in general that gets stuck in my head every time I think of it. But aside from that, you could also just analyze these lyrics forever. The meaning they hold and what they tell you about Frollo's character, the stunning animation throughout the scene. Hellfire is a masterpiece, and I will stand behind that. Now, I obviously have some bonus points to give out. He gets 3 for Hellfire, 1 for being so dark and human, and 1 for having maybe the best villain voice ever. Like, seriously, his voice actor knocked it out of the park. 15 out of 10, S tier. I was really not expecting Frollo to get this high of a score. But hey, Disney, that's what happens when you write a compelling, complex, interesting villain. Unlike another villain that will be on this list. Also, disclaimer, just because I think that Frollo is a good villain does not mean that I support his actions at all. Like, I know most of you probably realize that, but I swear there'll be someone out there that doesn't. He's Hades. He is a literal god who is trying to, and briefly succeeds in, overthrowing Zeus, another god. Yet his intimidation score is a 5. And so is his entertainment score. He's always throwing out jokes and one-liners that are actually fun and clever. He'd be kind of charming if he didn't look like that. But hey, just because he's not handsome doesn't mean that I don't love his design, because I do. I love that his hair is made of fire and turns red when he's mad or goes out and makes him bald. In fact, I'm giving him a bonus point for his hair and another one for being the inspiration behind one of my best boys, Adia Shroud. 12 out of 10, S tier. I think Clayton would be a much more iconic villain if they gave him more screen time. He's got a gun, and he's always shooting it willy-nilly, and he has a pretty intense fight with Tarzan towards the end, but I can't give him an intimidation score any higher than 3 because we really don't get much else from him. And his entertainment score is a 2. With his personality and him deceiving Jane and her father, he had the potential to be funny, kind of in the way Jafar is, where it's like, how on earth do you guys not realize he's evil? But again, he doesn't get much screen time, so he really doesn't have many moments like that. And I think his final scene was super entertaining, but it ended way too quickly. We need more of him. He feels like wasted potential. Now, I'm going to give him 1 bonus point for no particular reason. I'm now going to take that bonus point away as punishment for having a boss fight in Kingdom Hearts where he's riding a chameleon for some reason, and it's really hard, and it made me really angry, and I can never forgive him for it. Just die. Die. Please. Please, just die. Oh my god, you're just a human! How many times do I have to whack you with a metal key before you die? Get your stupid chameleon out of the way! I'm dead. I'm dead. This is it. I'm dead! Anyway, he gets a 5 out of 10 and is in the C tier. Yzma definitely does look pretty scary. I don't think any of us can deny that. I never watched Emperor's New Groove as a kid, and part of the reason for that is definitely because Yzma unsettled me a little. But aside from that, she has a secret lab where she makes poisons, and also potions that turn you into llamas. She also attempted to kill Cusco a few times, so I'll give her an intimidation score of 3. Now her entertainment score is a 5. She is hilarious, and her dynamic with Kronk is so funny. Every time she's on screen, you are going to be entertained or laughing at something she's doing. Again, especially if she's with Kronk. In fact, I'm gonna give her a bonus point for her dynamic with him. 9 out of 10, A tier. He has friends on the other side, and also powers that let him do things like turn Naveen into a frog, or turn Lawrence into Naveen. Also, his shadow is pretty spooky. Intimidation score is going to be a 4. I'm also going to give him the same score for entertainment as well. He's one of those characters that's fun to watch simply move around. I really like the scene where he creates an illusion of Tiana's restaurant to try and entice her, and his death scene is super fun, and he has a villain song, which of course I'm going to give him a bonus point for. 9 out of 10, A tier. Mother Gothel was the last real classic Disney villain we got, at least in my eyes, until Wish came out and they gave us a certain someone. How far we have fallen. Anyway, her intimidation score is a 2, because aside from her final stand at the end, she doesn't do much. She's just kind of a very good manipulator, and I mean, I guess she is also a kidnapper too. But when you're comparing that to a dragon or a giant snake or burning down a whole city, yeah, it's a 2. Her entertainment score is going to be a 3. She has some good moments, like her final scene where she kills Flynn, or her song, which, yes, she's getting a bonus point for. But most of the movie, she's just kind of walking around in the forest. A lot of villains are the best part of the movie, but I don't think Mother Gothel is the best part of Tangled. So she gets a 6 out of 10 and is in the B tier. F tier. I'm not going to elaborate. He just deserves to be in the F tier. I really don't have much to say about this guy. I mean, yeah, he's big and scary, so I'll give him an intimidation score of 3, but he's barely in the movie. Entertainment score is a 1. The villain really isn't the main focus of Mulan. 4 out of 10, D tier. We finally reached him, the infamous Magnifico. Disney finally brought back classic villains after years, and it was this guy. Okay, intimidation score is a 2. He's just a dude. He doesn't look scary at all. I know he gets pretty strong once he starts crushing people's wishes, but he still doesn't look intimidating. And also, he lost any chance of being a menacing, scary villain once he sang that song of his. I know that I gave every villain with a song a bonus point, but not him. He does not get any points when his song is so cheery sounding and he's running around going, "This is the thanks I get." He gets no bonus for, "I let you live here for free and I don't even charge you rent. Please take me back to Hellfire." Now for the entertainment score. Magnifico is the best part of the movie, but that's not saying much because watching Wish was actual torture to me. It was in fact as bad as everyone said. When I decided I was going to do this video and realized that I was going to have to watch Wish, I almost backed out of this video entirely. But I thought, you know what, maybe it's bad, but not as bad as everyone says it is. No, it was actually somehow even worse than what I was expecting. And same with Magnifico, he was also worse than what I was expecting. I was not entertained when Magnifico was on screen. I was annoyed. I don't understand his motives. He started crushing people's wishes to become stronger and being blatantly evil, but like, why? The public already loved him. He ran the kingdom. He gained nothing but the people's hatred by doing this. And why was he so concerned about Asha's grandpa playing music? He's 100 years old. He was probably gonna die like tomorrow. He's not gonna start a revolution. I just don't understand why he does anything that he does. He also just does stupid stuff, like letting Asha's annoying friends try to free all of the wishes for literally ages, and then he's randomly like, surprise, I was here the whole time. Then why did you let them be for like 20 minutes? You were just watching them? And then in the end, they defeat him with the power of song. Magnifico gets 1 bonus point for the scene where he shows his wife his new toy, as he says. For those 5 seconds, he was a little bit hot. He immediately ruined it after that, but for 5 seconds, I was like, okay. And my best friend, who I know is watching this video, she watched the movie with me and she thought the same thing, okay? I was not alone in thinking that. Anyway, 4 out of 10, F tier. Now I know I said that I was gonna be very picky about the villains that I put on this list, and I was only picking the iconic ones, blah, blah, blah. So you may be wondering why the big bad wolf is on this list. It's because he's on my shirt. When I got this shirt, I was like, wait, who is this guy? And everyone I asked, no one knew. And then I've seen a few other villain shirts since then, and he's on them too. Finally, I was able to figure out that he was the big bad wolf from the Three Little Pigs. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie to figure out why he keeps getting put on these shirts. And more specifically, to figure out why he was on my shirt over characters like Captain Hook, or Gaston, or Lady Tremaine. Surely he has to be great, right? Words cannot describe the disbelief that I felt when I discovered that he was from a 9-minute short. And the plot was literally just the Three Little Pigs story we all know. I'm sure it was an impressive short for the time, but are you kidding me? Why is he on my shirt over others? The Big Bad Wolf is on this list, so I can put him in the F tier out of spite. This is another villain I don't really have much to say about. I was honestly debating whether or not I should even put him in this video, but I was worried someone was gonna get mad at me if I didn't. He's not even remotely intimidating, so he gets a 1. And he gets a 2 on the entertainment scale because, I don't know, I kinda like how he moves around and interacts with the characters, I guess. 3 out of 10, F tier. Alright, we have reached the final villain on the list. Shere Khan doesn't actually show up until the end of the movie, but throughout the whole film you hear the characters talking about him and how scary he is. So it sort of builds anticipation and leaves you wondering when he's going to show up and what he's going to do. And what he does is very intimidating. The scene towards the end where he starts to attack the other characters, oh my god, he's so scary. That is a full-on tiger attack and he nearly kills Baloo. He is not on the weaker side like Scar is. His intimidation score is a 5. Now as for entertainment, I'm giving him a 3. He's barely in the movie, but when he is, he does pull you in with his scary aura. I have such a way with words. His scary aura. Anyway, that final scene where he attacks had my attention more than anything else in the movie did. Shere Khan gets an 8 out of 10, but I'm actually going to put him in the C tier just because he gets so little screen time. And that is everyone. Here's our final list. We've got quite a few in the S tier, but the one with the highest score is Frollo. And I'm really not surprised. Jafar is my favorite, but I totally see why a bunch of people say that Frollo is the best Disney villain. Definitely let me know where you would rank these villains, because like I said at the start of the video, I'm sure some of you would put these characters in completely different spots. Some of you might not think that Jafar deserves to be in the S tier. That would highly offend me, but hey, to each their own. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I got to rewatch a bunch of movies I loved as a kid for this video, and I also saw some of them for the very first time, so it's been fun. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to see more content from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!